Ivan Pavlenko, From Family to Family, Chapter 1, Part 6.1, Youth and Further Education, read by Natalia Buzova. At the beginning of August 1938, I was taking the entrance exams to the teacher training school. I wrote a dictation, passed history and Ukrainian literature, and got a 4. Mathematics came up. Teacher Holubchenko was the examiner. One of the first to go to the blackboard was my classmate Risha Tsariny from Lovitse. Something was wrong with him, and I was prompting with signs from behind the desk. The teacher noticed that and put me outside the door. In the end, Holubchenko called me and started to talk about percentages and proportions. It seemed to me that I answered well, but I was not on the list of those enrolled. At home, I didn't say anything about the conflict. Uncle Alexei, who was teaching mathematics at the secondary school at the time, came. He tested my knowledge and said that I knew mathematics well. It was decided to take me to Poltava, to the Land Management Technical School, which was announcing an additional recruitment. My mother packed a wooden suitcase for me, similar to a trunk with a padlock, and my father and I left. I was 15 years old, but they didn't let me go by myself because I hadn't even seen a train before. I passed the exams well and was enrolled as a first year student, but I studied for only 20 days and had my leg broken. It happened in a physical education lesson because of the teacher. We were jumping over the high bar. I just jumped over it when at the same moment someone landed right on my left leg. An ambulance immediately took me away. I was in hospital for a month and a half, and my father took me home. In the office of the technical school, he was told that I would be enrolled in the first course next year. My lower leg was recovering fast, and I was already skiing in the winter. Spring was approaching. I was turning 16, and I started thinking about work. But my father said, "You will be grazing the cow." At that time, Mikhailo Vlasiv and Mitrofan Hetmanyu grazed almost the entire Zaozir region cattle. The collective farm charged them one labor day for each cow at the expense of the owners themselves. In addition, each owner gave the shepherds a bag and dinner once a month. I also joined them with 2 cows, my own and Pantelemon's, for which the neighbor had to buy me a shirt in the fall. During the day, we grazed cows, and in the evenings, we went for a walk outside. This summer of 1939 was the most favorable for my health and the happiest in my life. After all, the time was beginning when spring blooms in the chest and everything around seems pink and harmonious. While grazing cows in the bosom of picturesque nature, we at the same time hardened ourselves physically. We wrestled, tugged on sticks, ran forward, walked on our hands, bathed a lot, and sunbathed. We then had enough food. The bags contained lard, boiled eggs, milk, pies. For the first time, I experienced the beauty of summer evenings and moonlit nights in a new way. I went to vechernitsy evening parties. Near Ulyanenko's, there was a long bench under a sprawling pear tree. Boys and girls of my age were gathering there. Songs and jokes began. Boys and girls sang together. None of us smoked. It's true, there were no cigarettes in the store then. Only Kremenchuk Vergun shag was sold. Elderly men in those days smoked homegrown tobacco, strong and smelly. Hearing our singing, older boys and girls sometimes came. What were the Chernitsy like? Music was not heard for a long time after the famine of 1933, but there were songs. Our Zaozirshina was always famous and attracted the whole village to itself. Our girls knew a lot of songs and sang one after another, and we supported them. I had a sonorous tenor, and I, like a loud girl, sang the high endings of Ukrainian songs, if there was no Priska Zarazomova or Katerina Pisarenko. Among the boys, Maxim Streltsiv, Stepan Sokolov, Yegor Samilenkiv sang well, and they sang the following song. If only that evening could come sooner, near the sweetheart's porch, oh, cherry, sweet cherry tree. or in the meadow, and also by the river bank. Oh, the wind is blowing in the field. Oh, geese move to the pond. Oh, curly-haired boy, don't go. Cossacks were going home from the Don, and others. In addition to singing, the boys played the fool, told funny stories, courted the girls, grabbed their sunflower seeds, grabbed handkerchiefs, and the girls in turn tried to return them. Mutual running began. Someone caught up with someone and hugged someone, and someone fell. Laughter erupted, and Mitrofan was always in the center of attention. But his tricks were not always decent. One evening, it seems on the Trinity, we first agreed with the girls to have večerniцы. The girls prepared a snack at Halka Suslikova, Plaskinchina, and the boys brought a quarter of moonshine. Halka's mother, serving on the table, ordered us to behave honestly and nicely. But when everybody in the house was merry after a glass of the moonshine, Mitrofan did not share something with Yegor Samilenkiv and put a plate with half-eaten sour cream on his head. Yegor lost his temper, and they were barely separated. Mitrofan was like that. If you didn't invite him, he'd tie the door or do something else. But if you invited, you would also be in trouble. As a rule, midnight meetings ended up with the song, "It's time to go home, it's time." The girls were the first to go. The boys followed them. Some stopped at a gate in pairs. Sometimes on Saturday and Sunday we went to the club. But the hosts there were older boys and girls. They also sang songs, danced to stringed instruments and tambourine, mainly polka, krakovia, karapet, hopak. Girls mostly danced, and only a few of the boys danced. Mykola Epifanchin masterfully danced hopak, and we, young people, did not even know how to move our legs. Some people were playing checkers and dominoes on the stage. There were also married men. In bad weather, we sometimes gathered till dawn at the Zarazovs, but in a narrow circle. The boys played cards, joked, but did not do any mischief in the house. Sanka Domoshenkova told the boys their fortune by cards. It was semi-dark in the house because it was lit with a candle. And a lot of adventures happened in the village with our participation. One day, a bit older boys and girls were meeting at Dunya Avramenkov's. When it got dark, the three of us went there. Mitrofan, Mikhailo Vlasiv, and I. We tied the porch with a rope from column to column below the height of the knees. Mikhailo and I lay down 30 meters from the porch in the potato plant, and Mitrofan rattled on the window and also rushed off in our direction. The boys, ignited by vodka, flew one by one out of the house and threw the rope with their noses into the ground. And it was dark all around. They were screaming, cursing. Mitrofan threw a lump of earth at the gate. It hit the boards, and the boys rushed there and then ran down the street in both directions. And we were suffocating from laughter. They returned, struck matches near the porch, and removed the ill-fated rope. How many similar stories were there during that summer? You can't put them all on paper. There were all kinds, funny, tragic, and obscene, and we fought with village boys, got the better of them, and ran away from them. We climbed trees in gardens in order to annoy the local policeman, who often blamed Mitrofan for all the night's adventures. Once seeing him at the widow's table, we tied the dog. It was night time, and we picked apples and went away. And on the second day, the policeman summoned all the boys to the village council, but in vain. That was our transitional age. We had not yet become real young men, but we were not children either. Mitrofan was our leader by the right of the strongest and oldest among us. We obeyed him and imitated him in everything. He seemed to us a romantic hero. I was his closest friend. We even often slept in his barn. I knew all of him, good and evil, sincere and cunning, simple and complex, incomprehensible to many. Some saw him simply as an incorrigible brawler and a hooligan, others as a prankster and a comedian, and still others believed that he was missing a tenth of the rivet in his head. But all his rivets were in place. Gifted by nature, he was intelligent, shrewd, and cunning. but his resources in the conditions of rural deafness were mainly directed along the shaky and wobbly road. He squandered himself on nonsense and found solace in it. At home with his parents, as well as with me, there was one Mitrofan, and in public, a completely different one. He entered each group of people like an actor enters a theater and immediately reincarnated. He played his role flawlessly, causing laughter and admiration from the audience. He himself could laugh when it seemed that he should cry. Under Mitrofan's tutelage, I was not afraid of anybody and was always by his side in fights. Yegor Samilenko was also noted for his courage and for strength. Ivan Merechin, tall, bony, with fists like stones. Only Stepan Sokolov kept somehow separate. He walked with us and reached out to the elder boys. And girls fell to him because he, the only one among us, knew how to dance. Ivan Movchan was a good guy, the adopted son of Ivan Yepifanovich Yatselenko, but he was not allowed to go outside, but for holidays. Much of what we had done in those years I later condemned, and I was ashamed of something I didn't want to recollect. Demonstrative bravado, impudence, inflated heroism had given rise to such actions which brought trouble to someone and harmed us. Man's purpose on earth is to do good, not evil. And the sooner people realize it, the more beautiful and easier their life will be. Unfortunately, this biblical truth comes to our minds only after years. At the end of August 1939, the girls and boys at Vechernitsy sent to me the farewell song. I am saying goodbye to you today, my friends. I said goodbye to the boys and girls, and then Mitrofan and I went to Semenkivщина for the last time. He followed Polka Lazareva, and I followed Marusia Domashenkova. I sat with her on the fence paralyzed, crossing for half an hour, and then shook hands, kissed her cheek, and ran home.